Hey guys, this is Toytony, and we're here today because we're going to start a new style of videos. This series of videos is going to be reviewed by my good friend DJ, and it's going to focus on something we all love, and that's Transformers. And this series is going to focus mainly on some of the new Transformers that are out there today, and we're going to start it off today with the Power of the Primes, Swoop.
And we are going to take a look right now at the first wave of the deluxe Power of the Primes figures, which are just starting to hit Target stores, and seemingly only Target stores. I went and looked these guys up with some people at Walmart, and they don't even have them listed in their system yet. So there you go. Target's the place to go. So we are going to start off with Swoop here today. This is the one I was the most excited for in this line. When I was a kid, I never got to have any of the Dinobots. I eventually did get... well, wait, no, that's not true. I did have Sludge when I was a kid, and Bully ripped his head off. Yeah, that was a thing that happened. Anyway, I did eventually get... an old broken Gen 2 Grimlock, and that's pretty much been the extent of my Dinobots. And I always loved the Dinobots. I always wanted the Dinobots, and Swoop most of all, because I just loved him. And yeah, so here it is, 30 some odd years later, and I still don't have the original Dinobots. But hey, we got these. These are a thing. They're here. All right, so let's move him out of the way here. We're going to take a quick look at his packaging. Now, we'll probably just look at Swoop's packaging and skip that on the rest of them, because I do have all 4 of the first wave figures. And you know, the packaging is pretty much the same on all of them. The key difference being this beautiful artwork right here. Now, I gotta say, the Titans Returns artwork was pretty cool, but this one right here, what they're doing with the Power of the Prime stuff, is phenomenal. I mean, it's just beautiful artwork. Look down here in the corner, got a picture of the toy, sort of. It's not quite the same. There's a few differences, and we'll touch upon that here in a minute. And then we got artwork of the Combiner, the Dinobot Combiner. You know, something fans have been doing forever. Well, now it's an official thing. Hasbro's got on the bandwagon. And then here on the back, you have your traditional cross sale, and it shows Swoop again, kind of. You might notice something a little different there. Plus, you know, just like they always do, they made him shinier. See, he almost looks chrome there. And it shows the part of the gimmick here. And the other part of the gimmick, it shows a couple of the Prime Masters. And, you know, it shows him with it plugged onto his chest. And he can't do that. That thing will not plug onto his chest. So that's false advertising. And just like always, you get a small bio here, which, you know, in 4 languages, right there. And around here to the other side, and this is kind of cool. The side of the bubble here actually has all of those prime glyphs just molded in there, which is kind of neat. I dig that. I dig that. So we'll set this off here to the side, and we will take a look at the collector card, because, you know, that's another thing that third-party people and fans were doing, and now Hasbro's gotten on the bandwagon. So again, you have that same just beautiful artwork of Swoop here. If it'll focus. 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 There we go. That is awesome. I love that artwork. You got the prime glyphs glowing around there in the background too. And then you got the prime glyph here in the corner. And then you come around to the back, and it shows that same prime glyph, and it's identified as League Maximo. And then you get here in 4 languages what happens when you combine League Maximo to Swoop. He becomes a charmer. Charms his way into or out of any situation. Now, the thing with these cards is they're not all the same. So, like, if you pick up a Swoop, you may not get this same card. You'll get the same artwork, but you might get a different border with a different prime glyph, and then on the back, it'll have a different prime and what that prime does there. We're also seeing pictures coming out of some people that have, instead of all 4 different languages, like all in the same language. So yeah, that's a thing. So if you're one of those like diehard completionist collectors, you have to have every version of everything ever, you're gonna hate this line. You're gonna have to get all the card color variations, figure out which one's the rarest, and that's gonna be it's like the green carded Star Wars figures all over again. Green card. Oh, but that's still kind of cool. It makes me feel like maybe they were thinking of a game with, the whole glyphs kind of makes me think of Battle Beasts. But hey, it's a thing. There you go. Yeah, so we're coming back now to Swoop proper. Let's get him. You know what I'm going to say here? Focus. Focus, focus. There we go. Oh, yeah, something's wrong with me. So again, we talked about how there's something a little different here. So if you notice, Swoop's beak is completely clear here. And that's kind of how the original toy was. And if you look here on the back, his chest is all red. And again, that's actually how the original toy was. In the cartoon, though, he was blue and with gold, so I think they might have done this last minute. I know when they unveiled this guy at the conventions, they had him blacked out with a question mark and told people to go to the booth to actually see him. So, yeah, that might have been a last minute thing. Will they put out... Ooh, I killed him. I killed him. He's dead. So, I don't know if they'll actually put out the G1 toy version of this guy or not. But yeah, they might. Again, take that, completionists. Okay, so if you don't know already what's going on with this line, this thing right here. All right, so if you remember, they're calling this a Prime Wars trilogy. So the first line was Combiner Wars, where they brought back all the... I killed him again. He's dead. Anyway, where they brought back some of the classic combiners and, did them all Scramble City like they were in the original. And then they followed that up with the Titan Masters, which were basically the Headmasters. Now, what was kind of cool about that is when we got to Headmasters, we were actually bringing in a lot of the Japanese Headmasters, as well as randomly making people headmasters that were never headmasters in the first place. And then we got a little bit of Master Force. So now we're coming into this Prime Wars, or the Power of the Primes, and we're getting a little bit more of the Master Force, as well as, some more G1 stuff done into combiners that were never combiners. And we're also combining the last 2. So all of our deluxe figures here are going to be not only interactable with the Prime Masters, but also combiners, and then the Voyagers will be the torsos, which, nothing new there, and then the leaders are going to have the whole evolution thing. So like Optimus will be Orion Pax, and you can turn them into Optimus Prime, and Hot Rod into Rodimus, and that's all we've seen so far, so we don't really know too much about that. So if you remember, in the Combiner Wars, all the deluxe figures came with a piece that could turn into either a hand or a foot. This time, the feet are coming with the Voyagers, and the deluxe figures are all getting parts like this, which are supposed to be, can be either left or right hand, but it's also their Power Master, because that's kind of what this is. So you pull this piece out, and it can sort of be a gun, kind of. not really. And then you'll get your Titan Masters, or Prime Masters, which we're going to pretend that this is a Prime Master. Blaster. Master Blaster. And you just plug them in there. And then on most of these, you can plug them onto their chests, and, you know, that's their Power Master thing, which is big, bulky, and ugly, no matter how you slice it. Now, with Swoop, he can't actually plug onto his chest like it shows in the box. That it can't happen. There's no way of actually doing that. But he does have these little tabs right back here. That's where I actually had it to begin with. So you can actually plug him on as a backpack. He's got eyes in the back of his back. Oh, I'm having too much fun with this. And so what they've done, like I said, we're getting a little bit of Master Force. So we're bringing in the Pretenders, and they're turning all of the Pretender robots. I mean, they're the actual Pretender robots. But if you remember the Pretenders, they pretty much all just folded up in half, and they were supposed to be some kind of vehicle. Well, now they're all folding up into half, and they're the original 13 Primes. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. It's kind of cool, but kind of weird. But hey, you know, whatever. Anyway, you can just plug this back into here. Oh, yeah, no, I had it the right way. I'm just tricking myself into get in there. Okay. Okay, so you got the little peg right here too. This is how it plugs onto some of them, and pretty much every bot also has peg holes here on the side. Now this is going to work with the Prime Masters as well, because the Pretender shells all turn into weapons, so you can plug them on there. But you can also plug that on there as a shield, really big, bulky, awkward shield. But hey, it's there. You can do it. So do it. Okay, we're going to set him off to the side, and poor Blaster, who donated his head for this particular review, we're going to set him off to the side as well. So I'm going to start with these guys in their robot modes, because that's how they come packaged. So now Swoop here is not quite perfect from his G1 counterpart, and I've seen some people complain about that, and that's actually his wings here. The original Swoop, these wings just folded back in half, and here they don't. They're just on a hinge, and they're also on a hinge here, so you can, you know, put them at different angles. It's got like 3 points where it clicks. Now, I think maybe if they had put those tips on the other side, so this would be what you were looking at from the front, people might have liked this a little bit better. It's a little bit more, well, especially if you look at like this part right there, it's a little bit more G1 Swoopish, kind of, sort of. But instead, we got this. Now, I don't mind this. I actually kind of dig this. I dig the new wings. You can sort of angle them back here. And again, you saw you can pull them out and put them at whatever angle. Now, if you do want to plug on the backpack, or, you know, this as the backpack, you have to have them down at that position. So, and they've also got, let's see if we can get them. You might see there's like this little lip right there. And there's also a little lip right here. And then on the back side of the wing, I don't know if we can see it here. Focus. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny little tab right there. So it kind of sort of soft locks into those places. Not very well, but it does. You can do that. Now, accessories, he's just got his thing and his classic sword. No missile launchers. Now, you do have these little peg holes right here. Now, that's for his combiner mode form, but yeah, you could have easily made like little missiles and plugged them on there. You know, it wouldn't have been too hard. But let's get in here on his face, man. I absolutely love his head sculpt. I mean, they nailed Swoop here. Very nicely. Now, what they're doing, they're to homage the originals. They all have clear plastic pieces that are painted gold on the other side to give them that, you know, sort of retro look. Again, the original Swoop, this whole thing was clear, so they're just going with the cartoon on that one. It's not the best gold. I've seen some people complain about that too, and I kind of agree. It's a nice gold. It looks good, but it could have been better. It definitely could have been better. And come down here to his legs. Got his dino feet right there. Big clod hoppers. Got a little bit of green right here around the wrists. Now, the peg holes are kind of an eyesore, because they stick off like, they don't belong. But, it's not bad. It's not terrible. And we've already looked at the back a couple times. You can see the combiner peg here. If you had any of the Combiner Wars figures, it's pretty much compatible. Pretty much. It is completely compatible. Not pretty much. It's completely compatible. A little bit of red detail here. Now, I will say it's not coming off on the camera very well, but the plastic here, it's got that nice sort of metallic-y, silvery look that the original Dinobots had. It may be a little duller, but it's very nice. And for the most part, it feels pretty good. There's some parts, the wings are a little bit flexible, but there's a couple of parts that do feel like a little cheaper, I want to say, and then some parts that don't. So it's a good mix. So articulation, his head's on a sort of a ball joint, but you really don't get a whole lot out of it. You can sort of peek down a little bit and just straighten up. You can't quite go 360 because of his collar here. You saw his wings. Got ball joint shoulders there. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got bending knee. Yeah, these are his knees now. Those are his knees. Bending elbows. Nothing at the wrist except, transformation joint. You can use that if you want. Now, he does have a waist swivel, but his beak here plugs into a little tab here on his waist that sort of locks it. But, you can just loosen it and use that waist swivel all you want. Now, he's got ball jointed hips. But now they are a little bit hindered when you get to like this point here. They're really tight in there, and they're sort of rubbing on against that crotch piece there. And you got a thigh swivel. Again, this is for transformation. That's just not. Holy leg syndrome. He's got a 90-degree bend at the knee. Now this is hollow for transformation as well, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And then the feet, all you can do is a little up and down there. You can see he holds his sword just nicely. It is red painted clear plastic instead of, clearish red plastic. So I kind of feel like that's a missed opportunity there. And plus mine got a little bit of a paint blemish from the little rubber bands that were holding this guy in. So, is what it is. Well, there we go. Focus. All right, had to take a quick break there because we've got trucks running outside making all kinds of noises. So, before we get into his transformation, we're going to do a little quick comparison here. We're going to put him next to his Dinobot buddy, who we're now calling Slug, because, Slag's no longer appropriate. And they do look pretty good together. And because I don't have anything else, here they are with Gen 2 Grimlock. Yeah. Gen 2 Grimlock. They scale pretty well. I mean, these guys aren't too far different from their G1 counterpart sizes. They're not too different from their transformations either, so we'll get into that a little bit more. So let's get rid of him. And get rid of him. Kill Grimlock. Well, of course I did, because that's what I do. I kill toys. Come on, focus. Focus. Ugh. I definitely need a better camera. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put him in their vehicle mode. We're going to put him in his pterodactyl? Pteranodon? whatever. Dino bird mode. And there we go. That's the official. That's what he officially is. He's a dino bird. We're gonna put him in his dino bird mode, and then we'll look at his different limb modes. All right, so I'm not gonna describe what I'm doing as I'm doing it because you can see what I'm doing. Yep, that's it. Well, you know the original Swoop, that's not really too much different than the original. I mean, his arms collapsed in here, and then you just sort of folded in half, and you unfolded the wings, and yeah, that was it. That was pretty much it. Now you can take this and lift it up and flip these down. They like to come unpegged when you do, and you can totally have him flying. Whoosh. Oh yeah, yep. So in this mode, you can't tilt the wings any because these legs actually plug in back here, but you still can move these and move these, so you get a little bit of articulation, get some nice dynamic looks. You can open up the beak, and this beak here, it's attached right down here, and it's not really like pinned in. It's just sort of one of those like little mini peg joints where you could pop it off, and it's, you know, supposedly held in place by friction, and it really kind of doesn't. It looks like it's supposed to friction over the crest here, but there's really not much in the way of grabbing. Now that could just be my copy, that might not be everybody's. It's been my experience with anything Combiner Wars, which I'm going to call this because it's pretty much Combiner Wars, you know, that sometimes certain figures will be nice and tight and everything great, and then certain figures won't be, and like right back here, he doesn't like to stay tabbed in very well. Not that that's a big deal. And you notice he's got Titan Master Pegs, or Prime Master Pegs, whatever you want to call them. Here. We'll take a nice good look at the detail on him in this mode. When you move the bird legs out, you get a little bit more. Oh, no. Focus. There you go. Get a little bit more detail right in there. You got his bird feet down there. Bird feet. And then the obvious robot is not really a robot. I am not a robot folded into a box with wings. Oh man, well, I still love it. I love it. I mean, this is, after playing with all four of them, Swoop is definitely still my favorite, not just because he was the one I wanted the most, but I feel he's the most successful. Now in this mode, you can take his chunk. That's what we're calling it. It's a chunk. And you know, I think they come in the box this way, so I think it's supposed to go like that. But he's got little slots right here and little tabs right here. So you can take this and Gotta go this way, I think. Yeah, this way. And plug it in right there. It plugs in good and secure. So again, you get a Titan Master or Prime Master, you can have him riding in there with the thing on his back, because why not? And then his sword has got a little tiny peg right there. And you can plug it in to the back or bottom of his beak so he can stabby while he's swooshy. Stabby swoosh. But then, you know, that kind of puts a little weight there. I think that's fixable. You know, maybe if you put a little bit of polish on the inside of here to give it a little bit more grip. I kind of don't want to do that too much because clear plastic, I'm already afraid these are going to break over time. But it is what it is. I might make it work. We'll see how it goes. So that is pretty much it for his Dino Bird Mode. Dino Bird Mode. I can already feel people like going to war over that, calling it Dino Bird Mode. All right. So we're going to start off with his Limb Mode. Now his Limb Mode might be pretty surprising, because, you know, he's a Combiner Wars figure. So, yeah, if you have any of the Combiner Wars, you pretty much know what to expect here. Yeah. This camera does not like to stay in focus. I'm going to describe this because it might be hard to see. He's got little tabs right there, and they'll plug into those slots that I wanted to put the missile launchers in that he didn't come with. And then you take all this thingy, and just like before, you pull this out, and you can rotate these and make them thumbs. So what I like to do is, since we're putting them this way, we'll put it like this, and I'll take this one and turn it up that way, so it's a little less obvious that it's a, you know, two-thumbed hand. And we'll swivel out the peg here. It's on a nice stiff ratchet, and that'll plug in right there. And yeah, as far as hands go, I kind of dig these a little bit better than the Combiner Wars ones. I mean, you're still kind of getting the same thing where you got like this big, bulky backside to the hand, and then the fingers are kind of coming out of there. They kind of click in a couple places. And then what they did, you can see right there, they've actually sculpted in a peg hole there. Oh, he came undone. So, you know, that way you can sort of have him still kind of unnaturally hold the weapons that they don't come with. I mean, seriously, we need some big weapons for these guys. Big ones. All right. So we're going to take this off because now we don't need it, because we're going to go to his leg mode. Now this was kind of neat. We talked about that hole that was down here before. They did actually, even though he just sort of folds in half, they did give him the traditional Combiner Wars joints just for his leg mode to collapse him up in there, which is nice. I dig that. Again, plug that in. This time it'll swivel all the way back. And there he is as a shin. No feet, because again the feet come with the you know, the bodies, the Voyagers. I will say though, he he's a pretty flexible shin. And I have not found any way to secure that, to make that lock into place where it doesn't do that. So, yeah, I don't know if that's anything that can be fixed or dealt with. I mean, it's not bad, but, you know, it's a thing. So now here he is. I've taken off his little panel right here, and I've stuck one of the Titan Masters in there, and he's got a couple pegs here on his wings, so you can actually have some more stand on there if you want to. You can actually still fold his wings up with the ones here on the back, but the ones here on the front, they're like right there, so they're not gonna hold anything on when you fold them. And so just for a quick comparison, here he is with his old buddy Slug. You see, I got a Titan Master up here with him too. How they look together. They look good. They look good. And we're going to bring back in our buddy Blue Grimlock. He's so blue. He's so blue and sad because he's missing teeth. Just like me. I'm sad. So again, you can sort of see these guys. Again, since I don't have any of the originals, I couldn't really tell you for 100% sure, but it looks like they scale pretty nice together. Pretty scale with the originals. Move him out of the way. I'll take him out of the way. And one more comparison. Here he is with the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive movie version of himself with two heads. Strafe. You can see this one's actually in the toy colors like what was on the packaging. The clear head and the red. Clear head red. Clear head red. It rhymes. So you can see he's definitely comes off a little bit smaller, you know, because this guy had pretty big wingspan, but you know, he gets a lot of neat little technical detail. And although, you know, I kind of like the chrome because I'm a sucker for chrome. Oh.
Well, guys, that was our video for you today. Tell us what you think about it if you have comments. And if you liked our video, we would appreciate you going down there and pushing that little like button for us. And until we get back together, remember, you're never too old to love toys. I'm Toytony. We'll see you later.